You know, it seems that it is the very last second here that we could pull this out of the fire. Do you think it's going to work?
Well, it's hard to say. Angie, firstly, thanks for having me on. This crisis has been a political crisis from the very start, and that's what makes it very difficult to predict what might happen. After all, we're dealing with a classic economic problem here, which is a national bankruptcy, but we're trying to deal with it within the confines of an ad hoc political constraint, which is the Eurozone, a badly designed Eurozone. So the outcome really is going to be determined by the politics, unfortunately, in some sense, rather than the economics.
Okay, but of course the contagion is the political, the intransigence politically could really impact us all economically. What are the options that Greece has?
Well, I mean, the options really, and I think the Eurozone are in the same position here. So in the end, pretty much whatever happens, my reading is that there's going to be some kind of default. Either that will take place within the Eurozone, if the Eurozone restructures itself and makes itself more like a true transfer union, and then Greece will be able to remain in, but with some kind of debt forgiveness. Or if the Eurozone cannot restructure because it might be a bridge too far politically, then it will have to be a debt default with Grexit, basically. And eventually I really can't see the alternative options.
Well, if that happens, what happens to the drachma? What happens to everybody there in Greece facing the fact that, well, what? Their currency is left to the markets and international creditors who decide that it's not worth much?
I mean, in the end, again, if we weren't trying to deal with this problem within this ad hoc political constraint, which is basically the Eurozone, and a badly designed Eurozone at that, we know how national bankruptcies work, and typically countries recover from those by devaluing their currencies. And sure, there's a lot of short-term pain, especially in this case it would be the Greek people. But that's the kind of exit strategy. In this case, it would basically involve Greece having to introduce the drachma or some other currency, independent currency, and following the same kind of procedure, but it would also involve a large amount of, it would involve default on its debt, basically. And so this would really create political problems.
Yeah, political problems, but of course the deal that Greece is flowing forward seems to be eliminating early retirement options. These are things that they had held to be almost sacrosanct, and now putting it out there as a possible deal.
Yes, and I mean, it looks like they are backing down. Of course, this deal still needs to be approved, as your lead-in talked about. This deal still needs to be approved by the Greek Parliament. And one of the problems with this, if the Eurozone continues a kind of drip feed of financial support to Greece over the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, this is just about the worst outcome one could ask for the Greek economy, because it'll be very hard to encourage investment and all the other things you need to get economic growth if there's uncertainty about where the next funding will be coming from.